Well, good afternoon, brothers and sisters. Happy Easter. It's Easter Monday, and I'm coming on with this last-minute live broadcast today because just about 40 minutes ago, the Florida Supreme Court issued not one but two decisions relating to abortion and the pro-life effort, and I wanted to give just some initial reaction. We knew that one of them was coming out today. I'll explain that to you in a moment, and I just want to let you know what they said. We'll be having more detailed analysis of this in the days to come, of course, as everyone digests these decisions from a specific legal point of view. But here it is in a nutshell. We were awaiting today, because today was the deadline for them to make the decision about the ballot initiative. The pro-abortion people want to twist and insert and impose on the Florida Constitution a so-called right to abortion, which has never been imagined or asserted in the history of the Florida Constitution, or in the history of the constitutions of the other 49 states for that matter, or of our federal Constitution in all of American history. Now, what challenge before the court was our Attorney General said, you know, she has a responsibility before the law to make sure that if the voters are given something to vote on, they understand what they're voting on. Of course, that makes common sense. You want to give the voters a choice, make sure they understand the choice. And so this court was considering a challenge to whether this initiative should even appear on the ballot at all. What the court said today was, yes, it can appear on the November ballot. So in the November elections, Floridians will be given the opportunity to choose in their vote whether or not they think the Florida Constitution should recognize a, quote, right to abortion. Of course, big mistake to vote in favor of such an amendment, and will be, as we already have been doing, letting Florida voters know why that's true. You know, this highlights the deceptiveness of the other side. They don't want an honest debate about abortion. That's why they're going to the route of the constitutional amendment in the first place. We already have two laws that were recently passed, and I'll get to, because the second decision today from the Florida Supreme Court has to do with one of those laws, and they upheld the law. But over the last 2 years, we've had two laws signed by the governor, passed by the legislature, signed by the governor. That represents the will of the people. And what happened last year was a law protecting babies from the time a heartbeat can be detected, around 6 weeks into the pregnancy. And then the previous year, and I was at the bill signing, the law that says abortion in Florida will not be permitted beyond 15 weeks of pregnancy. Now, the point in terms of the ballot initiative is very simple. The will of the people is already clear in these legislative initiatives. So if the pro-abortion people want to push it farther and say, listen, we're going to allow it all the way through pregnancy, or we're going to allow it up to viability, well then introduce a bill. They don't want to introduce a bill because they don't want it honestly debated among the people what this actually is when we say abortion. The deceptiveness of the amendment is not primarily about the things that the court was considering, whether or not people really understood what the issue was. No, the deceptiveness of it goes earlier and farther and deeper than that as to what the term abortion refers to. The other side just wants to make it a one-dimensional issue. Oh, well, this is just about the woman's reproductive freedom. Things regarding just a person's reproductive freedom are of a very different category than taking another person's life. People do not honestly know what this amendment would permit. They don't. Just ask them if they've ever seen the procedure or can give a one-line description of the procedure. Does the word dismemberment come to mind? Does the word decapitation come to mind? Of course not. And when you challenge the other side, see, my challenge to the other side is very simple. You're claiming you want to be honest with the voters? Well, then just tell them what an abortion is. Describe what you defend. They don't do that. They never do that. They don't do it in Florida. They don't do it in the other 49 states. They don't do it in the Biden administration. They don't do it in the Democrat Party. They don't describe what they defend, because when you describe abortion, people reject it. Okay. The amendment will be on the ballot. endabortionflorida.us. endabortionflorida.us is the website that will track and has been tracking our efforts to stop this amendment in its tracks, and we will do that. Now, the Supreme Court just also issued a decision within the last hour upholding the law that was enacted by our legislature, signed by the governor, I was present for the ceremony, saying no abortions in Florida after 15 weeks. Now, why was it caught up in court? It was caught up in court because, and I think this is really, really a sign of their desperation, holding on to a concept that the Supreme Court of the United States has rejected. The pro-abortion people in Florida were saying, Planned Parenthood specifically, oh, there's a right to privacy in the Florida Constitution. That includes a right to abortion. Now, if that reasoning sounds familiar to you, and it should if you follow this issue, that's the reasoning that the Supreme Court just rejected in Roe v. Wade. That the right to privacy would include the right to kill another human life. And that's precisely the point that even Roe v. Wade, and then later Planned Parenthood versus Casey, and many other decisions too, that's precisely the point they make to distinguish abortion from privacy. If you say, I can teach my children what I want to teach them, I can marry whom I want to marry, I can do in private things that others should not be able to interfere with, that's one thing. Obviously, we have rights, plural, rights of privacy, obviously. But to end another life? Is that the same thing? Is that remotely anywhere near the same thing, to end another life? That's what makes abortion distinct and not automatically included, no matter how fervently you assert a right to privacy. The right of how to educate my children in no way can include or be drawn from the same source as the right to kill them. I want to send them to whatever school I want to send them. I want to have them learn whatever language I want them to learn. You're going to actually say that the same right to privacy that allows you how to educate your children would allow you to kill them? Or how about marriage? I have the right to marry whomever I want. So, does that also give you the right to kill your spouse? What does privacy have to do with ending another life? The Florida Supreme Court today did exactly what I thought it was going to do, because in listening to the oral arguments last year, noticed how they were bringing up this question of, does the reversal of Roe v. Wade have anything to do with this? And the decision they issued today, upholding our 15-week law, indeed invokes the reversal of Roe v. Wade. It invokes the Dobbs decision, makes these distinctions, and says, yeah, this has a lot to do with the idea that Planned Parenthood is trying to promote, that somehow the Florida Constitution's right to privacy includes a right to abortion. No, it does not. That means this law can go into effect. That means this will also allow the other law to go into effect, protecting babies from the time that a heartbeat can be detected. Final point, how do these two decisions intersect, apparently going in opposite directions? Well, our legal experts will talk about this more in the coming days, but one thing I would point out to you right away, that a constitutional amendment, a court decision, does not, in and of itself, take a law off the books. The legislature puts laws on the books. The legislature takes them off if they so act. So it's a very different thing to enact a statute than it is to make an interpretation or even an amendment to the Constitution. We'll talk about that more in detail as the days go on. So I wanted to bring you this breaking news, a little bit of commentary. Stay tuned to our daily broadcast and you'll be hearing a lot more. We sent out a press release just now as well, and we'll be continuing to put things on social media about these two important decisions today, April 1st, by the Florida Supreme Court on abortion. God bless you, friends. Talk to you soon.
Hello, this is Abby Johnson of Unplanned the Movie. You know me as a longtime supporter of Priests for Life and of Father Frank Pavone, and I just want to encourage you as someone who knows of the great work of this organization, please continue to stand strong. Please continue to support this mission. It is so needed now more than ever. Thank you so much for all of your support.